Um, Last topic, which major curveball, but Chris Eubank Jr. posted that picture of himself with Terence Crawford. Crawford versus Eubank Jr. Crazy. At 160 pounds, I guess. What are your thoughts on that type of fight, man?
Is that real?
I mean, Chris Eubank Jr. posted it, so it ain't like
Did,
somebody else just did it,
did
you know?
Terence Crawford post it, or did you hear anything from Terence Crawford's trainers?
I haven't heard anything from them yet. I'm reaching out, but haven't heard anything yet. So just basing it just off, what Eubank posted.
Um, I mean, that caught me by surprise when you just said it, but um, I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. Why don't you get some information first? Because man, people just could say anything. Didn't Eubank train with Team Crawford? I mean, like Bomac and
100%.
them.
Yep. Yep.
Yes. I
Yep.
mean, it could be a rumor, man.
It,
I
it
don't
it
know.
could be, but if then again, it's just like if it's a rumor, why would you post it? And he put like the emoji, like nobody saw this coming. So like, why would he, you know what I mean? Want to pursue that, I guess.
I'm not disputing it. I'm
Mm.
not like saying it's not true, but I'm saying that he just was in their camp. He knows the way they talk. He knows like the training methods or whatever. He had access to Crawford's training team. So I don't know if they would want to just fight him now after he, you know, been working with him because then he got inside information. I'm sure him and Terence Crawford been around each other. They got this, Vomac's been Crawford's trainer his whole career. Red, I forget the other guy's name, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna pick Crawford over him if it come down to whose corner they have to work. But um, I don't. Would they let him be part of their team and then let him fight their best guy? Like, I don't know.
If
If it did happen, I think Crawford will win. I don't.
no hesitation, don't care about the
Yeah,
13 pounds, don't.
he's a much better fighter than Eubank. Much
But
better.
but the weight,
Um,
you don't think the weight?
it does matter, but in the gym, great welterweights beat up good middleweights all the time.
Mm,
You understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
And Eubank is just a good fighter. Crawford is an all-time great fighter, so he'll pick him apart if they were to fight. I'm sure he did in sparring if he was in shape if they sparred. So uh
Wait, kid. I think you
so
muted. There you go.
it's just a different level of fighter, to be honest with you. It's just different levels of fighter and great, like I said, great middleweights can beat great welterweights can beat very good middleweights. They just can. Um
Is Crawford
Floyd
like
Mayweather beat Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Floyd
yeah.
Mayweather's not a great middleweight, but he's a great fighter. So on certain days, he can beat guys that were good enough to win the 175-pound title. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that the media don't really get. There are weight divisions for a reason, but there's levels for a reason also. And
Hmm.
trust me, man, you in the gym, you probably see a guy like Crawford sparring super middleweights and getting the better of them.
Mhm.
You probably could see in a way, what's he, a 22 pounder now? You think he can't beat up a lightweight in the gym?
For sure.
You sadly mistaken. You
Yeah.
think that David Benavidez can't beat up a solid cruiserweight or a solid heavyweight in the gym? If he's walking around 190, 200 pounds, you mistaken. He beat the shit out of one of them. You know what I mean? If you at a certain level, you think Canelo don't beat up cruiserweights in the gym? Because the level of fighters that they are, they can consistently do that. And then in the public's eyes, they'll be like, oh my God, this was a big accomplishment. But the people that know better, they know better. Bro,
Mm,
I was picking Canelo. I picked Crawford to beat Canelo if they were fighting.
yeah.
So I'm very comfortable picking him to beat Chris Eubank. Eubank just don't know enough, and his boxing skills is not high enough, in my opinion. I watched him get outboxed by Billy Joe Sanders. Matt Karabarov was outboxing him uh, before he got injured.
Lost,
George
lost to
Groves
George Groves.
outboxed him.
Hmm.
Like, trust me, Crawford. Those guys are bigger than him, but his level of skill is is far past theirs. He shouldn't have too much problems. with Eubank. And it works. It works another way too. Whereas Bomac, if they did pick him, they're comfortable. Like, well, I know enough about this guy. I trained him. I caught him on the pads. I know enough about him to know that he can't beat Bud.
Mm,
So, um, if this is true, if it's true,
mm.
I like Bud to win the fight.
This a cold game if that's actually true, man. It's a cold game, man. But
It
got
could be a rumor, man. They can
absolutely
say anything on Twitter, bro.
absolutely right. And actually, my last topic actually, because it kind of just reminded me, David Benavidez moving up to 75, gonna fight Alexander Gvozdyk. Hopefully, I said his name right. WBC interim title is gonna be on the line. Could be positioning himself for the winner of Bivol versus Better BF. What do you think, Beth?
I like Benavidez by stoppage.
Any reason why?
I just think I just think that he's on fire right now. He's getting better. He's um he's testing himself for difficult styles. He's reaching his peak. Um the nail Gotzik, um he was really, riding really high a few years ago. But he took off like 4 years after he lost the beater bad. And um I'm never a fan of that. You lose a fight and you just take off that long. I don't like that. Um um Even though he had 3 fights this year, I still feel like, I mean, last year, 2023, I just feel like that, taking off that long just because you lost a fight is like, I don't know. It just,
George
it's
Foreman
hard.
did it though. Just saying. Like he did
Yeah,
it took like 10 years off.
listen, but that's an outlier. That's one guy that took off 10 years. But George Foreman is one of the more special fighters we've ever seen. You know, um, he's a heavyweight and he's a brutal puncher, so he can get away with certain things. This guy is a light heavyweight. So it's going to be some things that he's going to have to be able to do. I'm not saying he can't. It's just you asking me why I'm picking Benavidez. I'm just telling you why. And last but not least, um, I think that because of a lot of the I don't want to call them Russian because I know it's like different other countries, but the old Soviet Union, a lot of those fighters, they can punch, but what they are boxers who can punch, and they don't really like a lot of the pressure. So, for example, what's the one that Matthias just fought? It's supposed to be a good fight. It was a southpaw guy, Ergastov or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, dude could fight, right? But they need room. They need they need like they need time to think. So what did Matthias do? He pressured him and he made him quit, right? So then you had the guy, Raymond Ford was fighting last week. That guy could fight,
Yep.
but he didn't like pressure. He was a big puncher, but he wanted time to think. So Ford was not supposed to be the puncher in the fight or the stronger guy. He just sensed that and just started walking that guy down and got the late stoppage. Um, Frank Martin. Frank Martin was having a tough night. He started pressuring the guy, right? The guy took a knee in the 12th round and it cost him the fight. Costa Azul was the best out of all of them. His 2 losses, I know this is going back on you, but
Mhm.
his 2 losses was the Vince Phillips and Ricky Hatton. They both applied a lot of pressure.
Mhm.
Kovalev could box his butt off. He a better boxer than he is a puncher. People didn't realize that. Everybody ran from him because he had all of those knockouts.
Yeah.
Andre Ward realized he couldn't outbox him, and he stepped to him and made it grimy,
Yeah.
beat him. So I think that sometimes we mischaracter characterize their styles. Those guys, a lot of them, they don't like the pressure. They don't like when you walking them down and making them fight on the inside and putting a lot of mental pressure on them. They want you to go away from them so you could dictate to them. I think that David Benavidez is going to put pressure on him, not give him time to think. And that's the thing that bothers them. And I think that that's the reason why that they making this fight because they know that. David Benavidez trains out there in California. I'm sure he sparred some good fighters from that region, and I'm sure that he realized that they did not like his pressure.
Mhm.
I would be willing to bet it, and this is without talking to David or having any confirmation of if he sparred the guy or not. I heard he did good with Bivol, because Bivol didn't like his pressure. But the nail, I'm very reasonably sure that they're making a calculated move and they know he can't take that pressure. You don't see him bothering being a beater Bev yet. You know why? Because he's the one that likes that. He's the
Well, that
dog.
well, that's the thing. WBC interim is on the line, and if Better Be
Well,
does win,
well,
Better Be down for that pressure. So you think it makes?
listen. David probably needs a couple feet at flight to 175 to get himself together because Beater Bev is he the boss, in my opinion. A lot of
Mhm,
people like Bivol. I like Beater Bev.
mhm.
Um, But if you asking me, I think that David's gonna beat Gvozdyk. I know he's moving up. I know it's like looked at as a tough fight. The guy only got one loss. He knocked out Adonis Stevenson. I get it all, but I like David in the fight. Something tells me that the pressure in the second half of the fight will be a lot to deal with.
Is the whole well, if and you never really want to tell somebody what to do with their own career or anything like that. But if the interim is on the line, then he's positioned pretty perfectly to fight the winner between Beterbiev and Bivol. Do you think he should go that route, or do you think he should be like, nah, I could go back down to 168 to fight a Canelo because he did say that? Do you think it makes sense? Like, nah, you're already going to 75. Don't even entertain going back down to 68, man.
It's hard to turn down the Canelo fight because of the payday.
Hmm.
I don't like to play matchmaker with anybody's career. But if you take an eliminator or interim title shot and you know who the champion is, then you know that Beater Bev or Bivol, whoever win the fight, is coming down the line. So you got to be able to, I'm not going. It's too much of this stuff in this era where everybody wants to take the path of least resistance. So if he wants to fight the winner of that fight, then more power to him. That's great for boxing. I mean, you got a whole era of guys that's all just sitting around waiting, and they don't want to take nobody that they're gonna fight. They don't want to take no fight to where they looked at as the underdog or they looked at as that's a guy that they can't beat. So David Benavidez would be the underdog if he was to fight um Benavidez.
Better
Uh
be it.
Beaterbab. Like a
Mhm.
Beaterbab destroys um Bibble and then Benavidez beats the nail, well Beaterbab is gonna be considered the favorite in the fight. So if Benavidez went after him knowing that more people think he's gonna lose than think he's gonna win, that would be a testament to his character. We got literally a whole era that don't fight. Everybody just waits and tries to angle themselves in position. So uh I more power to the guy if that's what he want to do and go after a great fighter. I think Beater Bev is going to beat Bivol, and I think Benavidez is going to beat the Nail. So if that's the showdown, then I'm all for it.
That shit gonna be crazy, bro.
That would be a brutal, brutal, brutal fight. That'd be a
I
brutal fight.
I don't even want to sit on media row, man. If I do, I need a blanket because the
Yeah,
blood is gonna
it's
be.
going to be brutal. You know what? Neither one of them probably going to be the same after that fight. It's going
Bro,
to be a brutal fight. You know.